So, after 6 years of being gone, the Strangers franchise is back in movie theaters with The Strangers Chapter 1. I just got back from seeing it, and how do I feel?
I'm bummed out. I'm bummed out. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Nick here from the Lost River Drive-In, and tonight I am going to give you my review for The Strangers Chapter 1. Now, I want to let you guys know this is going to be spoiler-free. I won't get into specifics. Don't worry. If you haven't seen the movie yet, you can watch this review. I promise you. I should also preface by saying I'm a massive fan of the first two movies. The first movie is one of the most effective home invasion thrillers I've ever seen, and I still find that movie to be incredibly suspenseful. The second movie, The Strangers Prey at Night, I literally just did a video on the filming locations for that film, I like even more because it's a throwback to 80s slashers. Very tonally different films, but both great in their own right. So it should go without saying that I, of all people, was really looking forward to The Strangers Chapter 1. Now, I remember being a little put off by hearing that they had announced that it was going to be a trilogy shot back to back to back, and they were going to roll all three out in a calendar year. None of that really got me excited. If anything, that made me nervous because I don't know how to take that. You don't see that done a lot these days. It's also a pretty big investment and a lot of trust given to this filmmaker and this team behind these movies to guarantee everyone, hey, this is just the beginning. We have two more movies coming. At the same time, it's also really bad for the viewer. When you go to a movie and you know that it's the first of three movies, we're still getting two more, you just know certain things aren't going to happen. You know there's going to be almost no questions answered. I've got to say, The Strangers Prey at Night obviously ends rather definitively, unless you want to get into supernatural territory. So I understand why you had to go more of the reboot route. I'm here to tell you guys, though, it's like a loose remake. There's a lot of similarities to the first movie that I saw coming a mile away. There were things that were not at all surprising. I can't mention a moment in this movie that actually was like, wow, that's new. That's ingenious. It's just not there. This is very much a lot like a remake of the first movie. The plot of The Strangers Chapter 1 is a boyfriend and girlfriend are traveling across the country and their car breaks down in this small little town in Oregon, so they have to stay in this Airbnb, and of course the strangers show up to wreak havoc, and that's the plot. Now, let me just start with a couple of pros before I get into the negatives about this movie. First off, one of the pros is the sound design. I quite liked the score, and I liked just some of the sound mixing throughout the movie. I thought it added some nice ambiance here and there. It was heavily underutilized, but when it was there, it was pretty good. I've also got to give a shout out to Knights in White Satin. Anytime you can have an action scene take place with Knights in White Satin over it, I'm in. You guys know how I am about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I love Knights in White Satin. I'm always in. There are a couple of effective moments. There's something to do with a nail that definitely kind of made me go, that sucks, but nowhere near enough to really make you ever squirm at all. Now, it should go without saying that the movie looks pretty good. Rennie Harlan is a talented filmmaker. He's been doing it a while, so he knew what he was doing. I don't think that the direction as far as shooting a scene was bad. And the strangers themselves were still menacing and still effective when they were on screen, particularly Sackhead. I thought that whoever was playing him this time around did a really good job, and I actually still felt the menace behind the character. But aside from that, that's really all I have for the positives. And the negatives are aplenty, starting with our two leads. Look, I don't think the synergy is there between them. I don't think the performances are very good at all. And that's not to say they're not good actors. I personally haven't seen them in anything else, but they just weren't very good in this movie. Like I said, when it's a kind of loose remake of the first movie, not only is everything predictable, but it adds almost nothing to this franchise at this point, you know? We're three movies in, you're trying to relaunch it for a new generation and try to breathe new life into it, and it just meanders. The movie doesn't build any tension. See, a movie can be slow as long as it's suspenseful and it's building tension. Nothing wrong with a slow burn. This has no tension, so it's just boring. It just plods along for 90 minutes. Nothing happens, and even the action sequences you get are really few and far between and really short. There's just nothing of note that really grabs you throughout this movie at multiple points. I'm sitting here going, where is the end? And I hate to say that, but that's just the way it felt. Also, I swear to God, this movie was rated R for F words because there's little to no gore, little to no body count, little to no menace or terror to be found here. it is just lifeless. It's soulless, and it just goes and goes and goes until it meets its merciful end. And because it is chapter 1, it's not at all surprising what happens in the slightest. If anything, you sit there when it's over and you go, I could have predicted all of this before I went and saw this movie. Now, I want to dig a little bit more into like the loose remake aspects of it. There are moments, if you've seen the film, that aren't exactly how something happened in the first film, but the same thing happens just in a different way. It's framed a different way. It takes place a different way in a different spot. Ooh, it's a new location, but the same things kind of play out. Like, where is the ingenuity? Where is the creative flair? Where is the interest that you brought, the love that you have for the property, that you want to inject new life into it? It's just not there. It's retreads of what we've seen done before, done way better. If you're going to try to remake essentially the first movie, I don't know, why don't you start with the home invasion aspect? Actually have that fear and that tension be palpable. Actually draw out suspenseful scenes and, I don't know, make them suspenseful. And another downfall of this movie, it being chapter 1, we know it's going to introduce things that we're not going to get answers to. And believe me, there are plenty of things that this movie teases that you are going to get answers to in chapter 2 and chapter 3. But it will leave the viewer pissed because it's like, thank you so much for reminding me that this is chapter 1. Please introduce this stuff and don't give me any answers. It almost feels like a waste of time. And oh my God, I have never seen a 90-minute horror movie pack in so many horror movie tropes. I mean, they're everywhere. From, oh no, I fell down. Oh, I fell down too. Oh no, I forgot this. I have to go get this. Oh no, what's that? Oh no, wrong person. You name it. It's all over the place in this movie. And again, it insults the viewer. Guys, The Strangers Prey at Night was 6 years ago. Did we really have to essentially remake it? Guys, I'm at a loss. As a big fan of the first 2 movies, it just brings me no joy to tell you guys. In summation, I do not recommend The Strangers Chapter 1. I did not enjoy it. I did not have a good time. I felt like it insulted my intelligence a lot. I felt like it relied too heavily on cliches that are prevalent throughout horror that we've tried to get away from in recent years, but this movie said, nah, just kidding. They're all back, and they're back with a vengeance. The acting's not very good. There's just no menace here. There's nothing here. Now, having said that, yeah, I'll go see chapter 2 because there were seeds here, as I said, that I want to see how those play out. But I got to tell you guys, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to it. This movie left me severely disappointed. And as a fan of the first 2 movies, damn it, Rennie Harlan. Damn it. But I want to know what you guys think down below. What did you think of The Strangers Chapter 1? This might surprise you guys. Knowing me, I'm usually more positive, but I just can't get there with this movie, guys. I just did not enjoy it. I gave it 2 out of 5, and that might be generous. Because again, like I said, it is well shot. There are a few moments that you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. It does sow some seeds for the future that you go, I'm kind of wondering where that's going to go. And again, that scene with Knights in White Satin probably earned it 1 star in and of itself. But everything else about this movie, it's the pits. I don't recommend it. But I want to hear what you guys think down below. So please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I am mercifully pulling out.